All right, I'm going to try something here. Clap once if you can hear me. Clap twice if you can hear me. Clap 3 times if you can hear me. It's a little bit, that's a lot quieter. Okay, start the time. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys about a problem that I have every single day. So I work in South Lake Union. I use ride sharing as my primary form of transportation, and I get off work around 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock rolls around, I pull out my first ride sharing app. Let's say it's Uber. Uber tells me there's a car 13 minutes away. Like all of us, our time's valuable. I don't want to wait 13 minutes. So I pull out the next ride sharing app. Let's say it's Sidecar. Sidecar says it's 16 minutes away. Okay, that's not any better. So I pull out Lyft and Car2Go, and it's the same story. At the end of the day, I find out that the first ride sharing app that I pulled up was actually the best solution, but there was no way for me to know that. RedRide wants to be the solution to this. By aggregating all of the data from the different ride-sharing apps, we're effectively the fastest way to get from point A to point B. RedRide is the kayak.com for the road.
That's it? That's simple, huh?
That's simple.
That's simple.
Judges.
So you're basically doing lead gen for all of the major ride-sharing companies. How do you plan to do user acquisition so that you can sell them at the cost, and what's the margin going to look like?
Yeah, so, well, margin and lead gen is a different thing. Okay, so there's a few different revenue models. Lead gen is one of them, so essentially an affiliate model. And the distribution channels, we have a couple of different things there. We're working with Children's Hospital to solve their Guaranteed Ride Home program. And then we're actually going to replicate what the other ride-sharing services have done. So go to places like this and hand out little coupons, say, hey, get credits by using RedRide. And then on top of that, these the B2B distribution channels that I talked about.
How defensible is this? It seems like this is something that, that could be copied pretty easily.
Yeah, it's a good question, and you could probably say it about most businesses. Right now, we're like second to market out of all of them. There's one competitor, and they're doing an okay job. We just have to do it first, and we have to do it fast.
Is there any risk of Uber and co just shutting you down?
I would say yes if we hadn't already formed partnerships with them. So we're working with Sidecar and Car2Go. We're in talks with Uber, and we're in talks with Lyft. We've already gotten the data from them, though, on a legal basis. Any other questions?
When are you launching?
Yeah, so the app's in beta right now. If anybody uses ride sharing and wants the beta, come see me with a card, and I'll add you to our beta list. We're hopefully launching in less than a month. The app is pretty much done. We're just making sure that we're actually solving a problem.
Is this a single user type of service? Do you have any collaborative aspects to it, like with other riders?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Is it
You want to share a ride?
Can you share
yes.
Or can you network with other people?
Yeah, right now we're in early stages. We're essentially identifying, can we get data on where everybody's coming from and on where everybody's going? So eventually we can add functions like that. For now, we're just trying to solve the problem of how do I get to point A to point B fastest.
At the end of the day, doesn't it make sense to develop your own car service and service to that, to hold the old vertical? Or
If I want to raise $60 million, or I can use their infrastructures and still capture all of that data.
And the end goal is?
The end goal is to have a business that's worth a lot of money.
Great. That was RedRide.
Thank you. Vote for RedRide.
Hi, everyone. So, how many of you love the internet? I do, right? So, what if you could have the power to monitor the internet 24/7? What if you could know everything about anything you care about in less than 5 minutes and in a single website? Sounds impossible? It's not. That is Pigeonews, okay? Pigeonews is the best content discovery tool that you will ever use. We only started Pigeonews in less than 2 months. And in only 20 days, we discovered more than 35 million news. Okay? We filter and analyze that information for you. Okay? The results were amazing, and only with one crappy server. Imagine the possibilities for the future. Okay? So, in the first phase, Pigeonews is all about written content. But for the second phase, we are going to discover any other type of media, videos, podcasts, scientific articles, everything you want. We will gather everything and bring it to you.
Wrap it up.
Okay? So, well, that is Pigeonews. My name is Adrian Iskandar, and we want to change the world.
You want to just change the world, that's it, huh?
Change it up. So the product is sort of a search engine, but it's specifically about content, right? So do the mic.
Yes.
So why wouldn't I just use Google?
But because Google, you need to search all over the time the same searches, right? Your personal interest doesn't change with time. Like, for example, if you root for the same team, you always want to know information about the same team. So you only configure it once in Pigeonews, and we will gather all the information for you. You only need to configure once and enjoy forever. You don't need to search again.
What's the user engagement look like? So over time, do I keep returning to the site? This is an email aggregated format. Like how am I engaging over time?
Okay, so we have 4 techniques, okay? We have the RSS aggregator. We have also a search engine inside. We have artificial intelligence for data mining to gather all the information for you, and it will learn from you, okay? So it will gather every time more information from you that you get interested.
What's your background?
My background?
Yeah.
Where I am computer science engineer. I graduated in 2009 as the top engineer of my generation. I did a master's degree in computer graphics and artificial intelligence in La Universidad del Rey Juan Carlos in Spain. And right now I'm a software developer engineer in Amazon.
Last question.
So most of these services, similar services, start out mobile these days, right? What made you decide to go with a website instead of going the route of, I don't know, Flipboard or Zeit?
Well, the main issue was time, right? So we started this 2 months ago, and the best and easy way to deliver results for the people is in the website. We are going to deliver also startups in mobile later, but that's included in the second phase. And right now, like, you have also a bigger screen, right? We have like some research that we know that people like to read news on the desktop, and only the 40% like to read news on the mobile.
Great. You good?
Yeah, we're good.
Those are killer shoes,
Thank
by
you.
the way. I like
A mere
those shoes.
8 more of these. 8 more to go, right?
Hi there. Yeah. We're StowThat.com, and the concept is pretty simple. It's a pretty quick get. We want to be the Airbnb for self-storage. And the idea came to me because my wife and I have a couple of rental properties and rental homes, and we rent the garages out separately. And it's very simple to rent them out. They rent out very quickly, and they rent out at a rate that's about $100 less than what people would pay for public storage. And so we're launching in mid-August, and it is a industry, it's a huge industry that feels very ripe for disruption. It's a $22 billion industry, and the top 5 companies in the industry, which are the big public companies, own less than 10% of the market. So it's heavily mom and pop. They're not very digital savvy. It fulfills a real need. So self-storage has doubled in size over the last 5 years. And so again, a $22 billion industry that's growing, StowThat.com.
So I could rent out like my attic.
You could rent out your attic, your garage, exactly.
And what if somebody steals all the stuff out of the attic or the garage?
Well, they're not allowed to do
What if
that.
they make meth in there?
They're not allowed to do that. So what part of being part of the StowThat community is abiding by the terms and conditions. So the terms and conditions stipulate certain things like security around the home, what you're allowed and not allowed to store, access times, and the owner has control over some of those pieces as well.
How does insurance and liability work on this? Who owns it?
Yeah, it's a great question. So initially, insurance is with the homeowner and the renter. They're responsible for that on their own. At some point, we would like to offer probably an opt-in version of insurance. But at this point, it's too early for any insurance company to actually say we'll insure this.
My turn.
Yeah.
Are there any competitors doing this right now?
There are not. The closest thing to it is a company called Sparefoot, but what they're really doing is aggregating public storage spaces. So
You
there's
could
nobody.
consider Loot Check a competitor, I think, too.
Well, Loot Check will be a partner. They'll be a partner, so you'll know how much your stuff is worth, and then you can store it and insure it.
So people don't decide to
So
store
we'll-
stuff
so
every
we'll
day.
pro-
How do they become aware of this offering? And instead of just being like, oh, shit, what was the name of that storage company? Like in the once or twice a year when I need to store something, why do I find and choose you?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So first of all, part of that is going to be getting the word out and doing marketing against it. But what we believe the differentiation is going to be is that this is going to be storage that's close to home, that's convenient, that's drive up, that's actually very secure. The interesting thing about a lot of public storage spaces, if you've actually been to them, they're not terribly secure. They're in kind of interesting parts of town very often. So we think we're going to offer an alternative that will be very attractive to people.
Last question.
Do you think there are enough people who want to rent out their attic space? I mean, a lot of the Airbnb rentals, they're almost semi-professionals, right? But my attic space?
That's our biggest challenge. We think the biggest challenge is developing the supply. I mean, there are 90 million homes in the United States and 70% of them have garages. So we believe there is supply out there, and you don't have to have a ton of people. You can have a small fraction of a percent of people that own homes to make this a very viable marketplace.
Very good. That's StowThat. Lots of questions. That's a good thing, actually. Real good. Very good, sir.
All right, I'm Alex Williams, enterprise writer at TechCrunch, here at the Seattle Meetup, where we have the winners with us. Joe and Jason, congratulations.
Thanks
Why would you ever want to do a startup in this day and age? There's tons of them out there.
Well, it just seemed like an exciting opportunity to do something on our own and something that we feel provides a real need in the community. So I feel excited about it.
What is it?
Tim Tebow right now saying excited a lot.
Tim Tebow, let's not go there.
No.
But what is this about the shared economy that is so powerful, that makes this opportunity so viable?
I think what's exciting to me is Joe started with a real need. People have things that they care about and they need to store them. And people have homes with extra space and would like to make money. And so it's a chance for us to connect the two together to get greater value for both of them.
How big is this market? What is the size of this market?
The market is huge. I mean, the self-storage industry right now is a $22 billion industry. So it's a tremendously large market, but that's just the market that exists. So there's always the shadow market around it, et cetera. So we think it's a phenomenally large market. It's a market that's been growing. One of the stats that I said is that the self-storage industry has doubled in size over the last 5 years. So it's a huge, huge industry.
What about the supply side? Isn't that the challenge?
Yeah, the supply side is the challenge. I think, even for us, the idea came because my wife and I have some rental homes and we rent out the garages separately. But it takes a little bit of a twist of thinking to say, hey, I've got an underutilized asset that I can actually make money from. So the supply will be the big challenge, but we think once we get people to think about it, like Airbnb did and Lyft did and Uber did and Rover did, that there's the opportunity there to really open things up broadly.
So do you see the market emerging like, for instance, I may have a really great basement to store wine, and then I can market, my wine cellar, or I can market my closet for your skis. Is that the approach?
When we first started discussing the idea, there was many different options. It could be a home office, it could be a wine cellar, but we decided for version 1 to focus just on the garage, to see if people are comfortable with it, so people can understand the concept, and then start looking at other aspects of their home that would be underutilized, so they can get additional revenue from having people share that space.
What's interesting too is that when we talk to some people about it, there are people that have, certain love, like wine, etc. One of the areas that we think is ripe for picking is classic cars, or people who are car collectors. They're crazy about their cars. They want a space to keep them, and they want to feel safe and secure about that space. So we think that there's a real opportunity there.
Great. Well, congratulations, guys. StowThat, the big winners here at the TechCrunch Meetup in Seattle. I'm Alex Williams, enterprise writer at the TechCrunch, here at the Showbox.